Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to the final session of GEO Forum 2024. I've been looking forward to this one all day because it's a chance to show everyone how businesses contribute to and benefit from investments in digital inclusion efforts here in Nova Scotia. It's also more evidence of how Nova Scotia is emerging as a leader in digital inclusion. And by the end of this half hour, you'll know what this is and why 50 of them are arriving at the GEO Nova Scotia offices as we speak. All right, let's meet our guest. Teri-Lynn Dempsey is the co-owner of D3 Tech, a local startup offering mobile internet service and solutions, and the sole owner of DataGuide Technologies, an IT consulting and services firm based in Lunenburg, Nova Scotia. Both companies provide solutions and services across the globe. Altogether, Teri-Lynn has been working in the IT industry for 21 years. While most of her business is in commercial offerings, lately, Teri-Lynn has been bringing those same services to nonprofit organizations like GEO Nova Scotia and assisting them with navigating this complex landscape. Teri-Lynn and her innovative team are doing their part to close the digital divide and support digital inclusion with safe and secure access to technology. When she's not working, whenever that is, I don't even know when you have time to not work, Teri-Lynn is a volunteer firefighter and an affordable living landlord, a mother to an inquisitive 7-year-old, and a rookie dirt biker. Welcome to GEO Forum 2024, Teri-Lynn.
Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for being here. Let's start by getting to know you better and what your perspective is on all of this. You're an entrepreneur. You're in the IT sector. You're in rural Nova Scotia.
Yeah.
What's that like? How's that working out for you?
It's funny, I was at a conference in Halifax not long ago with my distribution company, and we were sitting around the table with a few other managed service providers, and the manufacturers were saying, where's your head office? Where are you located? And each one of them had an answer for that. Toronto, head office in Toronto, might have a building in Halifax. And then it was my turn to answer the question. And I said, wherever I wanted to be. Which is great, you know. We used to have a large retail space, lots of employees. COVID, unfortunately, caused us to close that, and we had to shift gears and make some strategic decisions. So we pretty much went remote with all of our employees. Last week, we were working on at Lightship overlooking the Lunenburg Harbor, working on a cyber campaign strategy with my account exec, Sarah. So it's really great. With anything, it has its benefits and challenges. Some of the benefits, are the quality of life. Some would speak to a better work-life balance, living rurally, a stronger sense of community. You're able to provide make a meaningful difference in the local economy because you're bringing services that they normally wouldn't be able to get. There's also, in terms of remote work potential, the IT industry is highly conducive to remote work, allowing you to access global clients. The challenges, as you know, and they're dealing with is IT infrastructure, lack of, reliable internet, hindering you be able to work efficiently. We are a completely cloud and remote based company, so if we have internet issues, just like anyone else, we struggle with that. Being rural, supply chain issues, not being able to find participants or locations, or maybe, leaving a little note on the door saying you have a delivery, but then that person can't find the spot to pick that up or have transportation to go and get that delivery. And then there's the perception of, rural businesses being less competitive or say less professional, I find, compared to some urban firms, which can create a barrier in attracting higher end clients. But I think it's, it's all what you make it. And it's been very successful for us. We're thriving.
Well, that's good to hear. So let's talk about how we met.
Yeah.
In 2022, I was a brand new executive of a brand new nonprofit, trying to figure out what the heck to do. And we were building not only this programming that had been developed kind of as at a project in pilot state, but we were also building an organization from scratch. And much of what we do, obviously, is online. So we were, I don't know how many months into this. And one of our, could have been a board member or some other professional, says, so who's your IT person? And I thought, that's a good idea. I should get one of those. And we reached out to our network, and one of them said, I know exactly who you should talk to, and we were introduced. We needed help with platforms, with security, with backups, IT policy development, everything, right?
Everything, absolutely everything. And now we're offering cyber warranty, insurance, and compliance regulation management services, which is massive, in today's tech landscape. Cyber insurance can be a really tough area to navigate, understanding the policy. The cyber services that you receive are essentially protection from the inside out. It's smart cyber monitoring created exclusively for you or for a client. We're able to take your insurance policy and have that scrubbed from an actuary to understand what requirements you as an organization need to meet and what gaps need to be filled, whether it's from a financial compensation perspective. The platform integrates directly with any of your security stack. What I mean by that is your remote management and monitoring of your computers, your antivirus, monitoring your multi-factor authentication status, your email security, lots of different things where it's continuously monitored for threats to identify critical vulnerabilities before a cyber attack happens. So with this extra warranty, we're able to provide a 72-hour compliance window. So we get a notification that one of your devices or services has fallen out of compliance. We're able to take that time, find it, get it back in where you're not, completely exposed and vulnerable. While you might be vulnerable to an attack, at least you know that you have that extra support with that warranty that we have there to get you back in business.
Well, that's an example of, talk about you don't know what you don't know, right? And so I knew, okay, we needed IT support, we needed some security, we're building out policies, so yes, you need, and insurance, right? So it was clear before long, our whole organization and everything of value is online. So cyber insurance became an order of the day. But then we learned you can't get cyber insurance unless you have all these cyber policies that spell out exactly how you're not going to get into trouble. So then you helped us develop all those.
Yeah.
And then I learned, cyber insurance is like any other insurance policy. You can have it, but if you need to make a claim, the insurance company is going to do everything possible to not pay out that claim. And so if they could find anybody and anything you've done not in compliance with all those policies that are probably now on a shelf somewhere, they can step back and say, that's on you. And so you introduced us to this idea of a cyber warranty that fills that gap that sits between the insurance policy and the real world and says, A, we're going to make a system that makes sure you stay in compliance, and B, we're going to take responsibility for that to help you if anything occurs on the spot. So really that whole package of building our organization's IT infrastructure and then protecting it appropriately is what you helped us achieve. And really something I think all organizations and nonprofits need to think more and more about these days. But it's not just, we started with IT support with you, and that's been great, but you are also now a supplier. We needed, and this came up just in the call before, laptops. So we've been giving out Chromebooks, and they're great, but there's some employment streams or post-secondary streams where they need a laptop. We needed something good. We needed something, that was cost-effective. And you've got dealer relationships, and you helped us with that too.
Yeah, absolutely. We partner with some of the largest manufacturers in the world, in your case, Lenovo and Microsoft. We're able to work directly with the account executives and say, listen, this is what we're trying to do. Not that we can mention this specific program, but letting them know, and Lenovo getting behind it and saying, we support this initiative and we're going to provide you a custom laptop that is high-end, lasts 3+ years. It's going to have a premier warranty. It's going to do a service to the person that's using it. On top of that, negotiated with Microsoft to get discounts on your Microsoft licenses, as well as headsets for that. Everything being delivered in Nova Scotia, there is a warehouse in Dartmouth, so we were able to store all of that customer-owned inventory and ship it same day, often getting it, within a couple of hours. They've been accommodating enough for someone to go pick it up on a short notice. I know that there was a program that, was starting and something happened and we needed 50 laptops in 20 minutes. Right? And then we were able to reach out and say, have somebody at that door to pick these up, which is really great. And to be able to absorb the shipping and any extra costs associated with delivering those.
Yeah. We really appreciate it. And of course, private sector partners like you that can tap into supplier networks and really aggressively drive down the cost beyond what would just be a commercial level discount, where they're saying, how many are you buying? Okay. And then they try to get as much from you as possible, but maybe be competitive. and you know, you and other companies have said, wait, what are you using it for? And then you really show up and say, let me do everything I possibly can. And you've been able to do that through some of your other suppliers as well for us. And it really just means we're serving more people and providing more support. So
and anytime I talk to Lenovo, they're always excited when I'm bringing up GEO or bringing another opportunity in. We, you know, with that type of relationship and that type of growth, there's the, you know, we've had challenges with tracking and inventory management, warranty. What do we do in this situation? What do we do in that situation? So we're working through that. And we've actually engaged with a local web development company, Maritime Design, to develop a custom back-end platform that allows your team to not only place orders, track orders, report on inventory, you know, return items, and get some other, you know, statistics that you may want to get off particular organizations that ordered, how many they ordered, or any other useful information for yourself. And I quickly realized, you know, how useful that would be for any of my other clients, right? How great it is when my client says to me, how many computers did we buy from you last year over this period of time? It's harder for me because I don't have that inventory control management software. But now we are having it built for us with another local rural Nova Scotia IT company.
So I see a pattern emerging here. The more you and your team innovate and find ways to support us and to support digital inclusion, the more you're also developing tools that you can use to grow your own business in other areas.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, based off this platform, you know, my staff and I sat down and we thought, you know, what are our challenges and what are our barriers in trying to grow and to scale? And we engaged again with Maritime Design and said, how much further could we take this? Could you build me this? Could you build me this? And essentially, we have our wish list, and they have our wish list. So they're putting that together now to, you know, have a full custom e-commerce website, a client management portal, ticketing platform, you know, again, allowing us to better serve our customers and export outside of Nova Scotia. You know, we're looking at putting together a quote to apply for the Invest Nova Scotia Export Development Grant. You know, again, so utilizing those resources that we have here to export out, you know, and bring more into Nova Scotia. Allows me to also cancel some services that I pay a lot of money for. Again, right, if I can invest that one big chunk into something that's custom and that can grow with my business, then I can kind of save in that area as well.
That's really great, because we always talk about how digital inclusion, you know, doesn't just impact that end user. It impacts the systems that are supporting it. So the public sector is impacted by making, in a good way, by making sure people can be online. People and families can, but businesses are as well. So now it is time to talk about this thing. And the story of why we have this device today started with a phone call between you and me.
Yes.
So at GEO, we were getting all kinds of requests for wireless service. In particular, it was Schools Plus. It was Kristen who was on the call just before, I believe it was. She reached out. They had a family that was displaced by a fire, and they were living in a trailer temporarily, and the student then lost access to all the online stuff. Is there some way we could, even on a temporary basis, provide them remote internet access? And so we started to research devices like this that were on the market, but nothing was actually really suitable, and there was no data packages or service to go with them. So fast forward 6 months, we found something kind of like what we wanted down in the United States. And it wasn't really deployable in Canada, but what was cool about it is they also had this management kind of filtery type technology on top, which was super interesting. And that's about the time I called you to complain. We need something. There's this growing need for wireless access. We're working with schools, with kids who need access. And, you know, we want to, in certain cases, provide people internet access that is much safer than the free-for-all that is the internet. So you think about that young student who needs Google Classrooms, who needs to be online, but whether it's gaming or streaming or adult content, there's a lot of sketchy stuff there. So, you know, this ability to provide internet but it's safe was really exciting to us. We met people on the front lines of mental health and addictions who are saying, I have a real challenge because the person I'm trying to help is not online, but I'm worried, of course, if they are online, everything is right there. And how are they expected to be successful when there's nothing between them and maybe the things that are causing them the most trouble? So I came to you and I said, I don't know what we can do, but boys, oh boys, there's an opportunity here. And what did you say?
I said, let me see what I can do.
Let me see what I can do. And here we are.
Yeah. And I mean, this has been a complete eye-opening experience. The work entailed bringing this device and solution into Canada. after our conversation, I met with a colleague and a friend of mine, and I, said, you have connections. We're in the same field. What do you think about this? Where could we go? What could we do? And in the beginning, I wasn't even dreaming of starting the company ourselves. I was thinking that we would leverage someone else and be able to put this together. And I asked if he knew anyone that could build the back end of this, or could help with this. And funny enough, his brother is a software engineer. So that day we're at Pete's Boutique. We're eating pizza. We FaceTimed his brother. We said, "What do you think of this?" And he's like, "I love this." And we're like, "We can't pay you, right?" No, he's like, "No, obviously not." And within a couple of weeks, we had a demo of a back-end content filter and fleet management software. Then we just needed the platform. We needed the internet. So then we talked to Eastlink, and I said, painting this picture of what if this and what if that, and they're saying, "Well, how much data are you going to be using?" And I said, "I don't know." And they said, "Well, I don't know." So I'm just again trying to paint this picture and getting them on board, and that took a long time as well too, as negotiating back and forth with that, and within reason, of course. If they don't know what they're getting into, they might be reluctant to do that. This product wasn't on the market in Canada, and so they had to build a custom plan. So it took some time to do that. While they were doing that, we had to register with the CRTC to be able to sell internet in Canada. That was a lot of, legal things we had to go through for that. We got that registration. Then we needed to find a device to attach this to. So we started reaching out to manufacturers, and we found a U.S. manufacturer called Franklin Wireless, and they are a leader in mobile Wi-Fi technology worldwide. However, have not penetrated the Canadian market for, well, I know the reasons now why. It's so difficult. What they had to do, though, and it's very interesting, is every telco company operates on different frequency bands, different cellular bands. So in order for a device like this to work on Eastlink's proprietary network, because they have rural band coverage, that needs to be re-engineered to work. So this company, who has no idea who we are, calling from Lunenburg, County, Nova Scotia, asking if they would, put their resources to something like this without us being able to even provide them a timeline or quantity or anything on what we were looking to do. They did it. They worked with us for weeks and weeks, and Eastlink back and forth. Eastlink adopted the device. They brought it into their testing facility. They tested it extensively, and agreed that they would bring it on, to their market to be supported if something were to happen to it. And after that, we had to have the device certified with Industry Certifications Canada, and that process took about 6 or 7 months, and a lot of back and forth with the manufacturer on a ton of very technical things that I'm not going to get into here.
Thank you.
It took a very long time. The device headed to Taiwan, and it was there a few weeks ago. We finally got our certification. So we weren't allowed to have the devices even shipped into Canada until Ottawa received that certification from Taiwan. So that happened about 2 weeks ago, and then we got confirmation from Franklin Wireless that the devices are on the way. So I'm getting ahead of myself a little, because we actually had to work with Franklin to develop a custom firmware that will work with their software, because we're changing the controls of the device. We want to link it into the fleet management software, which has an administrator can control the device, limit the amount of data that's being used, provide insights and statistics into the usage, and then there's that content control feature that blocks categories of websites, specific websites, and also applications on your mobile devices, just to allow a safe and secure experience on the internet.
So a year ago, nothing like this existed. And no way really to reasonably make it happen. And you and your entrepreneurial spirit and your partners have not only found a device, had it modified to work here in Nova Scotia, run it through all the licensing and regulatory hoops to make it viable here, first really of its kind in Canada. And then you didn't stop there, right? I mean, we only have 6 minutes left. So, but we need to hear about these other elements that you've added to this. There's 2 layers, right?
There's 3.
There's 3. Yeah. See, there we go. So I know there's a management software, right? I've got a fleet of these. I want to turn one off. I want to know what's happening over there. There's this safety and security piece, which is the one we're incredibly interested in as well, the ability to turn off access to adult content or streaming sites or social media or whatever you need to do to make it safe. Tell us a little bit about that, what else you've done for this device, and I'm going to bridge as well to make sure you have time, because I want everyone to hear how else this is being applied in other instances. We described the situations that we were looking at where this would work, but already you're discovering other markets. And this is the message I need to drive home. Businesses are succeeding and growing because of their work in digital inclusion and because of the investments that have been made in digital inclusion. So tell us about what you've been up to with this and where it's going.
It honestly seems like everywhere we turn, somebody wants their hands on that or a piece of it. And I said it's threefold. One part is the device itself, then you have the content filter, then you have the fleet management portion of it. So we have had requests for quotes for the content management platform only from 2 school boards in the United States, 450 licenses. Franklin announced a partnership with us, which is the most amazing thing for this part of the solution. So of their 1,000 or 1,500 school board contacts, when they get reached out to, they're going to be, directing those people to us. That's just amazing. We've had requests for demos for public transit, farmers markets, provincial parks, to be used for surveillance, to provide Wi-Fi for cameras at construction sites, or maybe even some private residences. And, I have another colleague who works in humanitarian disaster relief, and he said, would it work in Anguilla? And I said, well, I don't know. Let's call the telco company in Anguilla and ask them if it will work, because similarly, we needed to know their bands. Will it operate? Will this device work? So we do the same process. Now we get to cookie cutter it, right, because we've already done it once before. We find out that, yes, it will work in Anguilla. And the guy on the phone, the manager, said, what are you doing? What are you doing with this device here? And I didn't, want to get too much into it. I just wanted to find out if it worked. He said, this is a small island. I know everybody. This doesn't exist. What are you doing? So we told him what we were doing, and he said, he was quiet for a minute, and he said, I have been looking for something like this. That's just so weird. I can't believe this. I was thinking about this the other day. This would be really great for our hospitality suite. So we find out, that they operate in 124 countries. They support all of the Hilton, Sandals, and Wyatt resorts. And currently they offer a device like that, but does not have the insight, the ability to turn it off, the ability to control it or control the content in any way. So we said, you may have been looking for an opportunity in Anguilla, but you found one in 124 countries. So currently we have a device on its way through DHL to Anguilla for them to test and hopefully bring in to sell. Luckily, we don't have to jump through all the legal hoops because we're not selling it in their country, they're selling it. So we don't have to worry about certifying it or do anything like that. Locally here, we sold 115 units to about 9 to 12 libraries for their library lending program. They're not so much concerned about the content managed side as they are the device and data management side of it. So we're able to, pick and choose what works for each person. So it's interesting to see it as valuable broken apart as together, which were the intentions.
Yeah, it's just so incredibly exciting, and we're so thrilled that our little piece of work has involved you, and your work on that is really expanding your world and your business, your rural Nova Scotia IT business, employing more people, growing that economy. It's really great to hear. And it's just like I said, another example of how Nova Scotia really is a leader in digital inclusion across sectors. So we are going to, in our closing minutes, announce the door prize winner. So I think this is coming in just now. The little dots are moving, right? Which means somebody is now frantically typing me a message. Okay, here it is. Rob Casey from Teamworks Cooperative. Congratulations. You are the proud winner of a $250 gift card for Orchard, Canada's largest refurbisher of mobile devices. Rob, I don't think we have your email address, so reach out to us, and you're going to get that gift card as soon as we can get it to you. So thanks, Rob Casey. Congratulations. Thanks to all of you who are watching. We are out of time. I want to thank Teri-Lynn Dempsey again for being our guest.
Thank you.
And all of you for your time watching us this afternoon. Thank you to everyone today, our panelists, our hosts, our special guests, and to all of the people that you can't see behind these screens who have helped us organize today and make it all work. We're really grateful. Thank you all. Thanks to all of you again who are watching for making your time today for this session. And don't forget, if you haven't heard this yet, 7 p.m. tonight, tune back into the live stream for the Nova Scotia Digital Inclusion Awards. We're going to celebrate the incredible progress we're making together and highlight many of the people and organizations who are making it happen. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.